David and Christine Batt have been battling Prickly Acacia on Nuken station for more than 30 years.
Prickly Acacia, when we first came here, it wasn't too bad, and I didn't get into it then. I let it get away. That was my fault. But if we get a string of good seasons, it's going to be a menace, all right. It'll choke country out. There's no doubt about that.
The Batts run cattle and sheep on the 30,000-acre property, 100 kilometres northwest of Winton. The Prickly Acacia on Nuken is slowly being beaten. Much of the past work has been basal-bark spraying, a labour carried out by Christine Batt. With the invasive weed pushed back into defined areas, the Batts have entered into an agreement with Desert Channels Queensland for a major attack.
DCQ, though their team of men came here, they orchestrated all this happening. They offered their help and expertise and a bit of financial help to do it all, which is very much appreciated. And all their men came here. There was half a dozen blokes come and they camped in the quarters and they worked on it for 3 or 4 weeks. They've done this huge area here and it should be all, by the end of the year, it should be all showing effect of the poison.
Under the agreement, funding from the Queensland Government supported the work done in a partnership between the Batts and Desert Channels Queensland, with the aim of controlling the weed and recovering the land and watercourses. The landholders paid for half the cost of the herbicide and the DCQ crew carried out the work.
Because of the amount of funding we've managed to, and the help we've got to do it, which has all come from governments, of course, through DCQ, and they've paid for most of the labour, and I pay for half the chemicals, so it's a fairly good arrangement.
Additionally, to isolate the infestation, under the agreement, the Batts received funding for fencing materials while they carried out the work.
We've got to keep livestock off it for a couple of years. It should regenerate, which it always does if you stop things eating it.
Camels have helped with prickle bush control at Nuken.
Well, I heard that they were good on prickly bushes about 25 years ago, somewhere around there, and I went out to the Boulia and got a load of wild camels and brought them here recently to see what had happened. But you really need to fence them onto them, make them stay on them, because they'll hammer them when it's dry, the country's dry, and they're seeding, they'll absolutely hammer them. But as soon as we get a wet season, they're back on the pigweed and all the good stuff too, and they don't touch them much. But for that last 3 or 4 months of the year, when it's really light and dry, they absolutely hammer them. And they love eating the blossoms and seeds off them, so they contribute to keeping control of them. Yes, they're good value.
Persistent action by the Batts, the use of camels, and with the support of DCQ to control heavy infestations, the woody weed is slowly coming to heel at Nuken. With the work under the agreement now completed, David Batt says he is waiting for the chemical to activate to control the weed, which will allow the recovery of perennial grasses.
And we've just had 50 mil of rain on it, which would have melted them into the ground, so that part's perfect. We just need a bit more rain so the plant will pick it up. And we should see all this dead by the end of the year. It takes a while to happen, but it'll die. Once it gets into the plant, it works.
Industry, government and Desert Channels Queensland support the grazing industry in managing for change and a sustainable future on the rangelands.